Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Prime Minister for Team Proposition. The motion on the floor is this House will allow students to evaluate the teachers in schools. We will define the motion by defining the word teacher evaluation, in other words, teacher quality assessment. Teacher quality assessment commonly includes reviews of qualifications, tests of teacher knowledge, observations of practice, and measurements of students' learning gains. Assessments of teacher quality are currently used for policy making, employment and tenure decisions, teacher evaluations, merit pay awards, and as data to inform the professional growth of teachers. Elementary school to university is the school's boundary the teacher evaluation system applies. The evaluation can be effective when students take an active part and offer their various opinions about their teacher. In Korea, elementary to high school evaluations can't get effective results because we have to go to an elementary school to high school and students participate manually and they get bored. But in university's case, students have more free and active school life. They can make active results, so teacher evaluation can be useful. Based on an evaluation, the professors can supplement their class more and use the data. In this point, US is same as Korea, so we should supplement the elementary, middle, and high school's evaluation to make activation to students participate well, not eliminating teacher evaluation. So we, the government team, strongly support this motion. We have two reasons for supporting this motion. I will present teachers can get feedback about their class, which allows them to improve their teaching. And our Deputy Prime Minister will present the rest mentioned the second argument. Our first reason is teachers can get feedback about their class and teaching. Before talking about evaluation's effect, let's see why students can assess teachers most effectively. Who has the closest relationship with teachers? Students meet teachers every day. Only students know their teachers and teaching skill. Students are the only ones who can evaluate teachers. Think, do parents meet teachers every day? Do they learn from a teacher's class? Or the principal who comes from a class listens to 1 hour? No, they aren't. Students, of course, have the right to evaluate teachers. They deserve the right to assess the class. And what happened with the class after having a teacher's class? Therefore, students doing evaluations is important. The purpose of the evaluation is for teachers to take advantage of the data and improve by feedback.
POI. Would you POI, gents?
It is...
No?
No idea.
Okay. What training do students have to effectively evaluate their teachers? Teachers are in university for 4 or 5, and if they get their master's, 6 or 7 years. They go through so much education to become teachers. They pass a very difficult test to become a teacher. What does a student know about teaching or becoming a teacher?
I think even students don't know exactly about their teaching skills or something, but I think students can improve their teachers, like talking skills, like with students, and can share their feelings like that. Students can improve teachers their kind of skills. Yes.
Say that, I think a better answer, that's a good start. You should say something like, student evaluations open up a conversation and communication between the teacher and the students. So the students can express their feelings about the class comfortably and easily, and the teacher can read it and understand how does the student feel. Maybe the student doesn't have formal education about teaching, but they still have their mind about the class.
Yes.
Okay.
Fine. You get it? Keep going.
It is not an investigation to know if students like a teacher or hate. It is to assess the teacher themselves, not for students. It isn't a popular vote. By having students evaluate their teachers teachers can look back on their classes and themselves. Also, to take in what the students want from them. An online survey of 1,883 students from 10 European countries was administered by 2 researchers. They wanted to know what the students expect and what they experienced from the instructors. Overall, the gap between the expected and the experience proved to be overwhelmingly significant. The study found,
POI,
yes,
how do students know what they want? They are children and they have parents and teachers to educate them about life. How can they make such huge decisions about their education?
this study was about, I think, university students, maybe. And I think university students now have their thinking power to evaluate someone now.
Elementary school students too?
No, not for elementary. For elementary students, it is a little bit lack, but this study was for university students. So this result is suitable, I think.
But earlier you said that what students want in their education. So if we are giving elementary school students, middle and high school students teacher evaluations, how can they know what they want from their education?
I think what they get from education, is everything like same, because we are learning from the textbook. So I think what the student wants is their communication or like this kind of thing. They looked at 3 characteristics: a professor's personality, classroom environment, and teaching style. What they found out was that there was a gap of 35% between what students expected and what professors were able to deliver. And teacher evaluation systems can decrease this gap, so it can improve the quality of education. Also, teachers would compete in good faith against each other to get positive evaluations. They can use evaluations to get knowledge and deliver a more active and effective class. And as teachers evaluate about their students' class attitude, students should evaluate their teachers' class attitude. Student and teacher should evaluate each other and help guide each other to a better direction. This is the idealistic relationship with student and teacher, and the teacher evaluation is one of the most effective methods to help developing this relationship. For the students, teacher themselves, thereby for education, teacher evaluation is the necessary system. And if there is a problem, we should fix and make them better system to revitalize. So, I can strongly believe this house would allow students to evaluate their teachers in schools. Thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm the Prime Minister of Team Opposition. And before my speech, I will revert to the team proposition. Team proposition said that the teachers can get feedback about their class and teaching by teacher evaluation system, and students is the only person to evaluate their teachers. And for teachers evaluation system, teachers can improve their class by feedback. However, it can give pressure to teachers and violate the rights of teachers, especially temporary and contracted, can decrease the quality of education. And I will tell you more about in my speech. Today's motion is this house to allow students to evaluate teachers in schools. Before moving on to my argument, let me check the motions. First, evaluations are for students in elementary schools to university students. Also, there are a lot of ways to evaluate, such as grading their teachers on internet websites or talking about their teachers with friends in SNS or something. However, for the latter on, it is impossible to control it. Therefore, let's classify the motions as this house would allow elementary, middle, high schools, and university students to evaluate teachers in schools in an unofficial way. Korea had a teacher evaluation system since 2008. Many foreign countries are also accomplishing these systems. However, in Korea, most of students are indifferent towards this evaluation system. The system itself is too official and formal. The situation in foreign countries is not that different. Evaluation is usually voluntary activity and just a few of students participate in the evaluations. Overall this situation, it's time to face the reality. Is the teacher evaluation system effective? At first, we expected considering the rights of students and increase of quality in education. However, is it really happening? No. We, the opposition team, has three strong and clear arguments rejecting these motions. First, there is too much pressure to teachers. Second, students don't know about education. And third, those evaluations are too much biased. I will explain the
Too much
first
what?
argument and our deputy
Too biased.
biased.
Be careful, it sounded like a bad word.
I will explain the first argument and our deputy leader will talk about second and third arguments. Student evaluation gives teachers too much pressure and eventually hurts the quality of education. Student evaluation largely affects temporary and contracted teachers. It even affects to the employment of temporary and contracted teachers. Therefore, those teachers are forced to teach that what will get them good evaluations. So they cannot scold students who are disrupting the class because that students might give bad evaluations. They even cannot run the class before any unimportant exam. Let me present our case. Our school's career teachers try to teach things about certain subject, but our students complained about it, and she couldn't run the class and had to give a self-study time. And when she tried to do activities which was completely connected to class, students complained. The teacher scolded students and students complained finally and made her get fired. It was unfair dismissal. Also, if students say that class is too boring, teachers will try to tell jokes and make them laugh. This can lead to loss of important points in education and some embarrassing situations. Teachers even cannot challenge the students with sophisticated assignments or quizzes to improve students' ability. It is almost impossible for teachers to satisfy the students and increase the quality of education. To get good evaluations and satisfy students, the atmosphere of the class could be ruined. These situations give too much pressure to teachers and eventually hurt the quality of education.
POI, if you say that meeting the expectations of every student is impossible, don't student evaluations help make that more possible? If teachers can know what each student is thinking about the class, how doesn't that help the teacher to make sure they are working with every student equally and meeting their learning needs?
현민이가 답해. 아니면 답해.
It's almost impossible to satisfy all students. So if teachers try to pick some certain comments, then other students will give bad evaluation again because they have different comments about the class.
So if the teacher tries to satisfy one student's evaluation,
Others-
maybe they will dissatisfy another.
Yes.
Look at Hayam, not me. Oh, why are you looking at me?
This situation gives too much pressure to teachers and eventually hurts the quality of education. We have accomplished teachers' evaluation program to improve the quality of education and protect the rights of students. However, ironically, this system decreases the quality of education and even violates the rights of teachers, especially temporary and contracted teachers. Therefore, we strongly reject this motion. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Deputy Prime Minister of the government. Before I start my speech, I will revert to Leader of the Opposition. The first speaker of the opposition say student evaluation gives teachers too much pressure and eventually hurts the quality of education. But this opinion is not right. Even we use teacher evaluation system, students evaluation can just feedback for their teacher, and also teacher must have to get some pressure like student. Also, teacher must have to get some pressure like when students have exams. 그러니까 학생들이 시험 보는 것처럼
Like the students have pressure because of the test itself. Teachers needs to some kind of at least positive pressure to improve himself.
Teachers do?
She wants to say that.
because that can prevent teachers slow.
Teachers
Slow.
what?
Slow.
What is slow? Laziness?
Yes.
Evaluations place positive pressure on teachers to continually improve.
Say it one more time.
So, what did I say?
Evaluations
Evaluations place positive pressure on teachers to continually improve.
Ask her later on
Yeah.
the sentence, okay?
넣어봐요.
음.
Now our society has a lot of interest in education, especially our government constitutes school teaching is compulsory education. So many students wake up and go to school every day. They make teacher and make relationship with them. Children are taught by their parents first, and everyone will agree that parents has very important role for their child. We also say that our parents in school is a teacher. I just want to emphasize teachers' role is important as parents' role. So many people want to evaluate teachers' qualification. Also, they believe students can evaluate their teacher with many reasons. Certainly, students like me would evaluate teachers with our friends, family, and others in usual. We freely talk about our teacher in class, in house, in cafeteria, even in the street. Now it's time to make voice with our opinion, so our team strongly believes that this house would allow students to evaluate their teacher. Education is 20% of someone's life and their quality of education, and it will affect them for the rest of their life. In Korea, we go to the kindergarten first, then we go to the elementary school for 6 years, middle school for 3 years, high school for 6 years either. Also, most of students are going to the university. After graduate university, we still get education. What I want to say is that education is more than 20% of someone's life, and that means education gives huge effects to one's life. Moreover, in Korea, we have an important exam called National College Entrance Exam. For this exam, most of students show their ability because of education while they started to study. For the result of that exam, many students get jobs or make decisions for their future by only one chance. Everyone, why many parents want their child to go to more better school like private school due to the financial problem? Because they believe there are a teacher who has better ability. Teacher evaluation system's value and purpose is not to blame teacher. It is for improvement of activity of education. These days, because of some wrong awareness like teacher is government official, so they wouldn't be dismissed. There are many teachers who have low exertion, poor personality, fall short of ability. Like this, we can prevent this bad situation with teacher evaluation system. Teachers can use their opinion in reference materials. Also, the most important thing is to concerning about their education by the students themselves first. We always blame the government with education, but before blaming, we need to concern about it and be offensive. It's our duty to hold teachers accountable. Then the best way to deliver our opinions in official way is teachers' evaluation system. Actually, there are very good questions in evaluation papers. That questions are like, did teacher use various methods to teach? Did teacher explain clearly? Did teacher encourage your learning a lot? They are evaluate teachers' teaching skills which are based on pedagogy. This can make more better education field. So evaluation is very effective and useful. Like case of college students evaluate their professor, and that makes the education field more better than the students want to. Students has to take active role for their future career and also general education improvement. So our team strongly believes that this house would allow students to evaluate their teachers in school.
Hello, I'm the deputy leader of team opposition. Today we are having a debate on the motion. This house would allow the students to evaluate their teachers in school. Before I start my own speech, I will make some rebuttal on the team propositions. They mentioned that education is 20% of their whole life, so it can affect one's life, so it is also our duty. But our team believes that there are another ways to evaluate teachers, not except the evaluation system, because evaluation system is we can say evaluation system is failure, so because it doesn't give really effect to our society, so our team believes that. And education is when someone judges someone else or some things for you. Evaluation is not easy, and we can't be too careful when we evaluate something. So when we evaluate someone who is in a lower position than ourselves. Today we have a debate about this house will allow students to evaluate their teachers. Here is an old expression: teachers' gratitude is like the sky. It means students can't fathom teachers' teaching. Even though this expression is old and seems old-fashioned, we can't ignore the meaning. In my case, I had strict teachers, and I always think a strict teacher is really bad. The teacher who gave us a lot of homework or worksheets that need our concentration and effort. But when we grow up, we realize the teacher made our study skill and attention better. It means young students can't evaluate their teachers. Even teenage students can do that. And teaching method is personal style, and it can be a point of pride for teachers. So students can evaluate their teachers. So our team strongly believes we should not allow students to evaluate teachers in school. I will tell you our team's second and third arguments. First, students don't know about education like as teachers do. Students don't know about education better than their teachers. This is fact. So how can they evaluate their teacher? Actually, in Korea, the system to be a teacher is very difficult and requires knowledge about pedagogy. Pedagogy is learning about teaching skills and consideration for students' behavior. Also, education students have to teach in a real middle or high school. When they are university students, so through this system, people who want to be a teacher have an experience and take a chance to consider if teaching is their aptitude or not. So nowadays, common teachers want to and have interest in teaching. Teaching is their aptitude. So even the teacher teach very strictly and vigorously to students, we can't say the teacher is a bad teacher. And also through the system to be a teacher, students don't know about education better than their teacher. When students evaluate their teacher, it's like an amateur evaluating an expert. And students' evaluation is only subjective criticism. Students can't evaluate their parents, so how they can evaluate their teacher?
POI.
Yeah.
If students don't know about teaching, right?
Yeah.
But don't they know if they learned something or not? If the class was of value to them or not? Are they smarter after the class or the same or worse? Don't they know that?
Aiden.
Yeah.
Answer. That's exactly the initial purpose of this teacher's evaluation. But the reality is teachers are so much indifferent about this evaluation. So we clearly think it's the time to change this system. And your answer. You guys, do you have better ideas? What can be good answer? Definitely they would know themselves, this class lead them improving or not, is valuable or not, but they are so indifferent about this evaluation.
The students or teachers?
Students.
Yeah. And I think later in your argument, you kind of answer the question because you say students don't realize the value of a teacher until later.
Yeah.
So even if you had a teacher who was very difficult and you felt you had a hard time, you later realize how much they actually gave you. You have to mature and be older to see that, to recognize that. So I think the argument is, the answer is, students don't realize how much they learn until later. So maybe they only can see the bad part of the teacher. They can only see the hard time they had. But they later can recognize, oh, this strict teacher actually did a lot for me.
You like her case?
Yeah, it's my case too, my freshman year of university. I can totally agree with that. So that's what I would say.
And when you rebut, you restate their argument and you just say there's many other alternative ways rather than evaluation system. Before just throwing out these comments, I think you have to say, we agree that education itself is so precious on someone's life, so they deserve to have a right to make improvements on their education. But currently this system has a huge defect, so we think we have better ways. Okay, you have to agree on some part, but there is so much problematic and solution. Not just say there's alternative. Okay, it feels like you just avoid the answer. Okay,
Yeah.
going on.
Second, too much bias. The position of student means children and teens make their own value and sometimes they confuse their value. So their educations aren't just useless because they are biased. Sexism and racism also appear in their evaluation. There are cases of bad evaluations. She wasn't an angry black woman, but she's way too liberal. His physical handicap makes him bitter and a bad teacher. Students evaluate their teachers like that. These are real evaluations reported by teachers. Indeed, many evaluations, no matter who the professors were, focused on hair, clothes, general disdain for the subject matter, anything but constructive assessment of teaching. Because of all this bias, more tenure track professors don't read their evaluations at all. But think about it. Think about that. Prue would argue that evaluations are one of the best ways to.
Say it again.
But think about that. What is the biggest advantage is students' evaluations give feedback to a teacher. But actually, many teachers don't even read their evaluations because when they read evaluation, they get stressed from students and even feel disappointed. So evaluation can be a system between students and teachers. Students waste their time, even though students evaluate and write their thinking. Teachers often don't read to protect their mental health. So student evaluation is just a wasteful system. Waste our time, waste our feelings. Evaluation is not the best way to better the evaluation field. In my case, me and my friends don't like to evaluate our teacher, even if don't like our teacher. But we and our teachers always have a dialogue with each other and prevent conflict with the teacher. And our school students, including me and my friends, are satisfied this way. We don't need, so our team strongly reject to this motion. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the whip speaker of the Team Pro, and today's motion. Today we had a debate on a motion called "This House would allow students to evaluate teachers in school." And to begin and to look back of the whole flow of this debate, I would like to give you my experience and the reality of today's Korea. Just a few days ago, my mom told me to go to school with a good reputation. Because of a school with a good reputation has good teachers who teach well so that students learn better and more effectively. If the students learn better, then they can go to better universities, which leads to a good job, which helps financial comfort. This is called a good life, and that is the reality of Korea. And
Reality.
And this is the reality that Kon team has keep on telling us that, and this tells us that we the pro team is not ignoring the reality of
Reality.
reality.
There you go.
Reality.
Reality.
There you go.
Yeah. And we are not ignoring this reality.
Reality.
Reality. Okay. And that's that. And that reality is the reason why education is so important. Because it is literally and figuratively 20% of a person's whole life. So we should take procedures to improve education. Okay, let's look back on to today's whole debate's flow. There is our team, the Team Pro, has presented you two strong arguments. That was, first, teachers can get feedback, so it will eventually lead to the improvement of the teacher's teaching skill or the relationship between students and the teacher. And the second strong argument was about the education take care of 20% of the rest of the student's life. So that teacher has a great role and we have a duty, and it will eventually lead to the improvement of the education. And there is one big clash point in this debate, which can be divided into two smaller. The main big clash is whether the evaluation of teachers help the improvement of education or hurts it. It can be separated into two parts, which is students and teachers. First, students. Our team said that education is an important phase of the student's whole life. So the students have the right and the duty to make sure the education they are getting is enough and effective. We said that education takes up about 20% of the student's life, and the education they get can change their whole life. We emphasize that education is really important, and we, the students, should be open-eyed for better education. But the opposite side said that students don't know a thing about teaching and that students are not serious about evaluating teachers. So evaluating is pointless. We rebutted by saying that students may not know everything about teaching, but they sure do know about learning, and which teacher makes learning easier. And that's the point in this whole evaluating thing. Better learning and better education environments. And they also generalize.
Overgeneralized.
Yeah. And some comments some students wrote and they blame the evaluation system itself. So we won on this clash point. And let's go.
And they never re-answer back again. This evaluation system can at least open up the interaction and at least communication for students and the teacher. They never answer. They fail to answer it. So
Yes.
definitely won this point. Okay.
Second, students get second teachers. Our team said that teachers can get feedback from the students and improve themselves to become better teachers. But the other team said that there's too much pressure for the teachers and too much bias in the evaluations. Administrators use the info when hiring teachers, so they feel the pressure to get good evaluation scores in order to keep their job or go to another school. But if we keep the evaluation results to only the teachers, it can be less pressuring and stressful. Also, teachers could concentrate more on self-improvement, thus making a better education environment. Comments that are SNID. Snide, yeah. And negative for no apparent reason can occur. But again, this is generalizing some students' bad behavior and blaming the system. So we take this point also. The main point of evaluating teachers is for the advancement of education. Teachers and students both need to know that and think before going at each other's throats because of the evaluation system. They need to do their duty as a student and as a teacher. That way our education environment will improve. But team opposition are failing to catch this point. They are only giving bad and negative examples and views and are not thinking about the improvement of education. For these reasons, I strongly believe we won this debate and we should allow the evaluation of teachers. Thank you very much.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the web speaker of Team Con. Before we move along to the class points, I would like to have a conversation about the word evaluation. What do you think when you first hear the word evaluation? In the dictionary, it is written like this. Evaluation is a systematic determination of a subject's merit, worth, and significance, using criteria governed by a set of standards. And by this evaluation, if the person can be improved, why won't we do that? At that time, I had a question. Can we say that a person can be evaluated well by some conventional questions? Well, I would say if somebody who has more skills and experience evaluates me, I'll probably make those improvements. But on today's debate, we can see that students are evaluating teachers. It's kind of hilarious. Furthermore, students in this motion are mostly teenagers. It's the time when we establish our identities, and I'm probably sure that we have all experienced adolescence. At that time, we face a problem emotionally, not rationally.
Rationally.
Rationally?
Rationally, right? R-A-T-I-O-N-A-L-I? Why?
Yeah.
Rationally.
Rationally, okay. Evaluation must be accomplished objectively. But can we? If I was scolded by my teacher on the day of evaluation, I would write to make my teacher look very mean in our class. So, well, do you still think the main purpose of the evaluation can still work out?
Really quick, I don't want to forget to say it, sorry. After that, you should add, maybe later I will regret it, but that's the mind of an adolescent. Think emotionally in the moment, and then good judgment later. Regret later. That's our mind. Maybe every day I love that teacher, but he scolded me on that day and I wanted to be angry. That's the nature of teenagers. That's why we can't have evaluation pull-off, okay? Can you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't you think that we are just ignoring the dark sides of evaluation? I think it is time to think about the real effectiveness of evaluation. So, our team strongly opposed to today's motion. This house would allow students to evaluate teachers in school. First, let's check the whole flow of today's debate. Team proposition's opinion was first, teachers can get feedback and this will lead to teachers' improvement. Second, education is 20% of someone's life and it eventually leads to development of education. In our team, the team opposition's three strong arguments was first, teachers get too much pressure. Second, students don't know about education. Third, it has too many bias points. Now, with the questions that I've talked about first, let's move on to the clash points. Today, we found two big clash points. First, violating the purpose versus achieving the purpose. I will rebut the opposition's argument point by point. The pro team has made one opinion for the clash point achievement. Teachers can get feedback and it will lead to improvement. Team Pro has claimed that evaluation can help the improvement of teachers. Teachers can know what he or she is doing wrong in class or in study. So it would lead to the improvement of teachers. Their opinion can be so easily rebutted. First, we have to remember the process of evaluation. It has too many bias points. Like what I said in the intro, we are teenagers. We confront problems emotionally. Then, can you be sure the evaluation will be done well enough that teachers could have improvement?
Yes.
Like what our team's second speaker said at the examples of bias evaluation. Do you think those sentences could lead to the teacher's improvement? Strongly believe no. And Team Pro also claimed that it will lead to the build-up of the relationship between the teacher and the student. If we can have a good relationship and improvements by evaluating, why would we do that? But if the comments are filled with comments about the teacher's appearance, will the class finish their year with happy smiles? And will the comments about appearance improve the teacher's teaching skills? If I was the teacher who had received the comments about my appearance, I would have no satisfaction of my school life. Also, do you think that close relationships will bring good evaluations? I don't think so. It could turn into a worse relationship, and good relationships also may lead to more emotional thoughts. That do not see the teachers as a teaching person. Their opinion is only hiding the reality inside the mask. We, the Team Con's second speaker, gave us how hard it is to become a teacher, especially in Korea. We have shown why evaluation has already failed. And furthermore, we also made solutions for the teacher and the students' relationships. The opposition team is just showing us the bright side. So, in this first clash point, violating the purpose versus achieving purpose, we, the Team Con, has won this clash. The second clash point is helping individuals versus hurting individuals. The opposite team has shown us the opinion that education...
Proposition team.
네?
You're con. Proposition team이라고 말하라고.
Team Proposition has shown us the opinion that education accounts for 20% of someone's life. So, if the teacher is bad, it can affect the students for the rest of their lives. We admit that the teacher has an important part of teaching in the class, and it could affect the student. But we think that the student also is as important in class. What I am saying is that students also have the responsibility to rather to accept or not. We can't blame only the teachers in the class. I think other countries would be like this. In Korea, we can easily see in classes change from the past. We can have class in a more free atmosphere. It can be good, but we think we can easily see sleeping people, sleeping students while the teacher is teaching. Okay, if we are too sleepy, it can be a good plan for the next class. Noisy students while teachers are teaching. You can't deny it, right? It is true that we can easily see those students or us. They are refusing the class themselves. Don't you think this is a rash judgment? We can see that the teacher has an important role in studying, but also students also have to have some responsibility of their lives. The time has passed. We can't only argue about the teacher's behavior. We cannot allow the evaluation because of seeing only the teachers as having the responsibility of the students for the rest of their lives. Students also have the responsibility to take their knowledge, take the knowledge they are receiving to open up the ways in their lives. So, their opinion can't be built up to the point of teacher evaluation. Different from the pro team, our team's first speaker has mentioned the definition very well. Also, we well managed why evaluation can give teachers pressure, and it could even lead to the violation of the teacher's rights. Lastly, our team has given you the real example during our speaker's school life. What can be more realistic than giving a real school life example? So, we won this flashpoint. In Korea, it's been 8 years of having process and evaluation. And for those years, we, the students, have had many questions about how the class was and how the teacher was. These questions contain many information that is related exactly in the pedagogy. If the students know pedagogy well, if the students had clear thoughts about education enough to improve their teachers, then what is going on now? Do you think for 8 years it has been a huge change because of evaluation? We have to know that it is time to think the real effectiveness of evaluations. And for this reason, I strongly believe we should not allow students to evaluate teachers in school.